Welcome back. A report by the Department of Basic Education has revealed that scores of young girls between the ages of 10 and 19 years old are infected with HIV every week. This was stated during the department's State of Teenage Pregnancy and Comprehensive Sexuality report presented to the Portfolio Committee on Basic Education. For more on this, we're joined by the Basic Education Spokesperson Elijah Mhlanga. Mr. Mhlanga, very good evening to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Shocking statistics. First, let's talk about the report. How is it compiled? And is there a sample-based use, or, do you literally count every student that falls within this category?
Good evening, SABC. Well, the information that we use in our report, which we presented to the Basic Education Portfolio Committee this morning, is what we collect from different sources: the household survey, the World Health Organization, SADC sources, the Department of Health, Department of Social Development, and other departments. We don't do the research ourselves. We collect it because it affects the work that we do in the basic education sector. So we use it to plan, we use it to develop responses that we need to work on to assist our learners to be able to complete schooling.
So when we talk about scores, what is the actual number? Mr. Mhlanga, are you still with us? Seems like he may be frozen. Let's see.
Not sure if I understand.
Okay, so I was asking, if we say scores of girls between the ages of 10 and 19 are infected with HIV every week, do we have an actual figure when we say scores?
Well, it's a lot. I mean, it's a crisis as it is right now. What we have is that we say of our young women in the country, of school-going age, 30% of them fall pregnant in the year, and 65% of them, they fall pregnant without planning for it, and it's something that they're not prepared for, and a lot of them even drop out of school as a result of it. So it's a crisis. I mean, if you look at the numbers, we reported, in fact, the Department of Health in Gauteng reported that 23,000 young girls in the province fell pregnant between last year and this year. And in KZN, it says 35,000, in Mpumalanga, 15,000. So those are numbers of young girls who should be in school, who should be allowed to be children, to grow up without any disruptions to their lives in this way. Disruptions in that these are offenses that include rape, sexual abuse, gender-based violence, which result in a whole host of things such as sexually transmitted infections, as well as HIV and AIDS. So all of those things we reflect because it impacts negatively on their lives, but on schooling in general, because we plan for all these children and we end up not having all of them in the system at the end of the day, which is something that we don't want to see.
And I'm glad that you are contextual about it, because a lot of people, when they have these conversations and things like the child grants start coming into play of the reasons why these young girls are falling pregnant, without actually examining if these young girls fall pregnant willingly and if it's as a result of coercion. Let's talk about the support mechanisms in place, because a lot of these incidents were reported, and not only in South Africa, across the African continent during COVID-19 lockdowns. What were the trends that you observed, and were there support mechanisms that you were able to put in place, at least those who were of school-going age and who actually were registered as pupils at some of these institutions?
Yeah, during the first few weeks of the lockdown, there was like a 37% increase in terms of the reported cases of sexual abuse and abuse in general of children. And that is a problem. That's why we immediately came up with a campaign to appeal to parents to say, please take care of the children. They are as stressed as you are about the lockdown. We are all in a situation that we have never experienced before. So please be mindful. Don't take out your stress on them. In terms of support to children, we can only provide once school is open. That's why we insist in every case that schools must be reopened. We need to stabilize the sector so that all our learners are in school, which is when the bouquet of services that we have in the basic education sector kick in. A whole range of them, including the school nutrition program and other psychosocial support services as well that we have. So we always say in the sector that no child should drop out of school because they fell pregnant. We avail as many resources as possible for them to be able to get that, but it has to be a partnership between the system as well as the parents at home through SGBs and NGOs and other organizations. Of course, other departments are also implicated, such as social development, health, the police, as well as the Department of Justice, because
so this is the point that I was going to, Elijah, that it's not true to say you can only get involved when they are at school, because the support structures or mechanisms that have to be in place are also the monitoring in cases where we know that teachers are involved in the impregnation of young girls. But there's also sexual health and reproductive health rights education, family planning. We know that the levels are very low in South Africa, and a lot of it has to do with educators discouraging young girls, say that it leads to promiscuity. What are you doing about this and inculcating it into your curriculum?
Well, the response to all these social ills has to be a partnership between the authorities as well as individuals, families, and different organizations that work in the sector. In the report that we presented to the Portfolio Committee today, we did show that there's at least 6 departments that are implicated. It's Department of Basic Education, Health, Social Development, Justice, the police, as well as the Department of Health. So we need to make sure that each department does what it is supposed to do at the time what it's supposed to do, because our jurisdictions differ, but we need to work together. And we can't just be looking at government to solve this one, because as society, we have normalized teen pregnancies. We see a young child at 12, 11 walking down the street. Nobody cares. Nobody asks what happened, when in fact there is a statutory rape case that could be opened by adults who are concerned about protecting children. We have never seen a situation where people say, enough is enough, we're going to march against teen pregnancy. But for our part in the Department of Basic Education, we have incorporated a lot of structured material, age appropriate, through the comprehensive sexuality education, which we are using in schools, which unfortunately is what has been opposed by some people and organizations who actually marched to the department to say, you can't talk to our children about sex and sexuality, even though the aim of this particular program is to empower young children so that they know how to navigate these complex social issues.
Elijah Mhlanga, thank you very much. Basic education spokesperson. And as you say, it is a societal problem that really does involve everyone to intervene, and never mind the age of consent.